Ever wondered how to survive winter in Tromsø without freezing? In this video, I will show you exactly what to wear, especially if you're not used to Arctic temperatures like me. I will cover everything you need to know. How to layer your clothing for maximum warmth, the accessories you shouldn't skip, which boots to wear, extra cold weather gear to bring, and outfit ideas for city days, tours, and snow activities. Plus, I will share my final tips to stay warm, so you can fully enjoy your Arctic adventure. Winter in Northern Norway is unpredictable. Between December and February, temperatures often drop well below -10 Celsius, but it's also normal to have days above zero. One day it's just below freezing, the next it can plunge to -10, 15 or even -20 degrees. That's why layering is absolutely essential. Layering lets you adapt. Whether you're strolling around the city or standing outside for hours waiting for the northern lights. So let me explain the layer system, which is simple but incredibly effective for staying warm in Tromsø. I will go through it layer by layer, starting with the base layer, the foundation of your winter outfit. The thermal base layer is honestly the most important thing for Tromsø in winter. You can go for either polyester or merino wool, because both fabrics pull moisture away from your skin, so you stay dry and warm. My personal favorites are the merino wool thermals from Danish Endurance and the polyester sets from La Pasa in warm or extra warm. Merino wool is great because it's naturally breathable, it regulates your body temperature really well, and it doesn't hold onto odors. The only downside is that it's usually more expensive and you have to wash it a bit more gently. Polyester thermals are generally cheaper, super durable, they really dry fast and they're really easy to wash. But they can hold onto odors a bit more, and they don't regulate temperature quite as naturally as merino. However, either option works great as a base layer in Arctic conditions. Just make sure you wear your thermals directly against your skin. If you're interested, I've linked all the products I mentioned in this video down below in the description. Next, add an insulating layer. A fleece jacket works really well. A wool sweater is also a great option. And on really cold days, you can throw a lightweight down jacket over your fleece for extra warmth. I personally love the Columbia Fireside fleece. It's super warm and soft, and the Sherpa fleece traps heat without feeling bulky, making it perfect to wear under a parka. On top of everything, you need a windproof and waterproof outer layer. A ski jacket or a real parka works best. And don't forget warm pants. Snow pants or softshell pants are perfect for keeping your legs warm and dry. For this trip, I wore the Spider-Prist synthetic jacket. It's lightweight, well insulated and waterproof. On the bottom, I mostly wore ski pants when it was snowy or wet. But sometimes I switched to the 33,000 feet softshell pants, like on dry, windy days or when I wanted something lighter and more flexible. They are winterproof, warm, stretchy and water repellent. Now let's talk about the smaller things that can make a huge difference. These might seem minor, but they're total game changers when you're out in Arctic conditions. Keeping your head warm is key, so always wear a good hat. I went with a fleece-lined beanie, and on the coldest days I layered a thin fleece headband underneath for extra insulation. Protecting your face from wind and snow is just as important. That's why a scarf, neck gaiter or buff is essential. For me, a thick fleece-lined tube scarf worked perfectly, especially when I pulled it over my mouth and nose. Don't underestimate the power of good socks. Merino wool is my top pick, because it keeps your feet warm, dry and comfortable. The Danish Endurance merino socks I used were thick and cozy, perfect for long winter hikes or just walking around in the snow. And finally, your hands. Thick gloves or mittens are a must, with mittens generally keeping your hands warmer than finger gloves. One trick that really works is to wear mittens over thin finger gloves. On this trip I relied on the Royschellner mittens layered over light gloves. My hands stayed toasty, but I could still use my phone or camera without struggling. All of these small items, hat, scarves, socks, and mittens, might sound simple, but they make a huge difference. When you get them right, it completely changes how comfortable you feel outside in freezing temperatures. Next, let's move on to the question of which boots to wear. Footwear is absolutely crucial in Tromsø. The ground is icy, sometimes snowy, sometimes wet. And it's always really cold. Having the right boots can make or break your trip. You want winter boots that are insulated, waterproof, and have a good grip. Otherwise, your feet will get cold, wet, or you might slip on the ice. Finding the right boots for these conditions isn't easy. Most winter boots are made from leather, which is warm and durable. But if you prefer non-leather options, it can be just as tricky to find a pair that keeps your feet warm, dry, and comfortable in Arctic temperatures. I looked at and tried a few different options before the trip. The Columbia Minx 4 is a great non-leather choice, with solid insulation and traction. Perfect if you want something easy to slip on and go. The Sorel Carnival is another non-leather boot with excellent grip and warmth, especially for snowy streets. For leather boots, the Columbia Ice Maiden 2 offers classic winter protection with good waterproofing and comfort, and the King Raider combines leather durability with a roomy fit and reliable traction. After trying many pairs, I ultimately went with the King Raider because they felt the most comfortable with thick socks and had the best overall warmth and grip for long days out in the cold. And a little extra tip. Adding wool or felt insoles can make a big difference for keeping your feet warm on long days outside. Also make sure to choose boots that are slightly bigger than your normal size, so you can fit thick wool socks and the insoles comfortably underneath. That extra space really helps keep your feet warm and cozy. Now I'm going to share a few extra pieces of gear that really helped me survive long hours outdoors in Tromsø. First, ice spikes are a must. The sidewalks get insanely icy and without them you will be slipping everywhere. I use the Aeon Power spikes. They're super cheap but incredibly effective. Next, hand and foot warmers make a huge difference, especially on Northern Lights tours or really cold days. I brought the one from the Heat Company, and they last a long time, keeping my fingers and toes nice and warm, even in temperatures as low as -20 degrees. Another tip is to bring a thermos with hot tea. Seriously, this is a total lifesaver at night when it's freezing outside. And finally, a power bank is essential. The cold destroys your phone battery, so I always kept mine warm inside my jacket to make sure I could stay connected and capture photos. Last but not least, I'm going to show you a few outfit ideas for different situations and activities. Keep in mind that it's usually very cold outside in Tromsø. But places like shops, museums and cafes are often extremely well heated. So layering is key. For exploring the city during the day, I usually wore a thermal base layer, a fleece jacket and a warm winter parka. On the bottom, I went for softshell pants. I always had a hat and a scarf or buff, and I wore medium weight gloves. To keep my feet dry and warm, I stuck with waterproof winter boots. This outfit was perfect for walking around museums, popping into cafes, or taking short strolls through the city. Outfit number 2 is for Northern Lights tours, where you really have to dress for standing still outside for a long time. For this, I layered a thermal base layer, a fleece, and a thin down jacket under a thick snow jacket. On the bottom, I wore snow pants, and for my hands, I used 2 layers. Thin gloves underneath thick mittens. I also wore wool socks with warm winter boots, a neck gaiter, and brought hand and foot warmers. This setup kept me warm even in temperatures between -15 and -20 degrees. And a little bonus tip, don't forget to bring a thermos with warm tea. It's a lifesaver while waiting outside. Outfit number 3 is for snowmobiling, husky tours or reindeer tours. Basically, long outdoor adventures where you're active for hours. And here's the good news. Most adventure companies in Tromsø provide a thermal suit, and sometimes they even include gloves and snow boots. These suits were super warm and perfect for staying comfortable during long outdoor activities. For these tours, I wore a thermal base layer, a fleece, wool socks, a hat and gloves, and then put the thermal suit over everything. Finally, here are a few last tips to stay warm. Some small things that people often forget. Always wear merino wool socks. Bring extra gloves and don't forget tissues for the cold, dry air. Keep your phone warm in an inner pocket. And remember, layers, layers, layers. That's the real secret to staying comfortable in Tromsø. So that's basically everything you need to know about what to wear in Tromsø in winter. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more authentic travel stories and tips from my adventures around the world.